On my way.
Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Jonna.
And I'm Kim.
And we are in Dallas at Knit Dallas. Can we do that over again?
Sure. I feel like I'm further away than you are.
What do I want to say?
We haven't done this in so long. I've slouched for 3 months.
Okay. Welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Jonna.
And I'm still Kim.
Yeah. And we are not in our home base, Pick Up Every Stitch in Mount Kisco, New York.
We haven't been there in a while.
No, we haven't.
Well, I've been there, but we haven't filmed there. I really miss them. We will come back, we promise.
Yes. Where are we?
We're at Knit Dallas in Dallas because I surprised Jonna. Go ahead.
Yep. On Sunday, I knew she had said that she had bought a ticket, but the day and time of her arrival was to remain a mystery. And I have to say my husband did a very good job and did not... he just played dumb. I asked him lots of questions. He was like, I have no idea.
Because I contacted him to find out when Jonna's not busy,
right.
Telling him that I would love to surprise her and just show up. Because it's been hard to really commit and choose a date to either you come to us, you come to us, you come to New York or I come here. Mm-hmm. So I just said, I'm just going to surprise her and show up on her doorstep. And I did.
She did. She rented a car and she actually showed up at church.
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw her in the lobby and I was like, wait. I have that dress.
I wore my Jonna dress. I bought this two really cute, the same dress, different fabric this summer, thinking, oh, these look like Jonna. They remind me of Jonna. And so I wore
I have that dress.
I wore one of my Jonna dresses from the airport.
Yeah, in case you're wondering, it's the quince linen dress with like the pin tucks in the front.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wear those all the time. Yeah, so that was funny. So we went to church, then we went out to breakfast/lunch brunch. As one does in Texas. I've been doing a lot of eating out.
We had barbecue, of course.
We had barbecue.
Marty B's.
We ate out twice in one day, which is,
yeah, unusual.
Not typical. But I had, even though I went grocery shopping, I have no food. So I had not planned to cook for you or anything. I did have, so in case you have a surprise visit from Kim and she's coming, I bought one of those squirty cans of whipped cream because I know she likes whipped cream in her coffee. And I bought some French press ground regular, although she's half caffeing it.
With caffeine.
Yeah, caffeinated. She's half caffeing it now. Those are my two Kim purchase must have on hand.
By the way, we are definitely doing some catching up at the beginning of this video, so
we will put timestamps in.
Right. So if you want to get straight to the knitting, skip. We have a bunch of things to talk about. We're hoping to keep this thing under 2 hours, but sit back, relax, grab your beer, grab your tea, grab your caffeinated.
Depending on what time of day you're watching, right? Your glass of wine.
But yeah, so I did get to surprise her. It was just really, really fun.
Yeah, it was
and
sweet.
Yeah, it's so fun to be together. And every time I would, up until right now, if I would try to talk about knitting or something, she said, don't talk about it. Let's talk about it on camera.
Right. But evidently we have lots to talk about, so no shortage of things to talk about.
Yeah.
So back to where we are. We are in a gorgeous store, the only yarn shop, I believe, in Dallas proper. We're in East Dallas. The store owner is Meredith. She's been here 3 years, and I asked her to tell us a little bit about why she opened a yarn store. So 3 years ago, she had a big life change. Her kids were older. She has a background in construction science, architecture, and business. She loves school. I was like, oh, kindred spirit. You know, she's like, yeah, I have lots of degrees. Like, okay. So, of course, she decided to open a yarn store. So she got the knitting bug years ago and thought, you know what, I would always like to own a yarn shop. So she suddenly found herself in the position to be able to do it. And it is the funny story. We were in here maybe on her third day of being open.
I remember.
My husband and I stopped
Yeah, I remember
by.
you told me.
And my husband's a business consultant, so he's always, into merchandising and advertising and social media. And so he was giving her an earful while I was looking at all the yarn. But since then, in the 3 years, her shop has just exploded. It's like, it's amazing. She has just so much inventory.
It's yarn heaven here.
Yeah, she keeps buying more yarn and keeps wondering where she's going to put it.
And she tries to have different things than a lot of yarn shops have.
Yes, and so I feel like there's not a huge overlap between McKinney Knittery and Knit Dallas. They're about a half an hour apart. We drove last time after we filmed at McKinney Knittery. We drove down here. It's about 30, 35 minutes.
And we're going to go there after this.
Yeah. And it's funny. I think I mentioned that it was in a strip mall. And so we had that conversation on the way here. No stripping involved. It's just a mall that is not in one building. It's
non-Americans don't really understand what a strip mall is, and they just hear the word strip and they think,
it's a strip of stores. So it's in a strip of stores. Right. So anyway, it's visually a beautiful store.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about some of the yarns that she has in a store.
Yes, and I will, after we're finished filming, we're here actually before they open. Meredith came in early for us. By the way I arranged this, even though it's a surprise visit, is I did mention to Jonna, she's had a lot going on. This summer, we took the entire summer off so that she could mourn the passing of her father and enjoy the birth of her 7th grandchild.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? So in getting ready to come here, I asked Jonna, no pressure.
We weren't going to film on the day you arrived, and we weren't going to film on the day you
Right, I said, or even, because I don't come here to film. I come here to see you. Truly. Like, if we didn't film, I would feel bad for the viewers and the members, but I really come here to see Jonna. And so I asked, she knew I was coming. I said, so when I'm there, would you be open to filming? We totally don't have to. And if we did, would you want to do it at your house, right? Or at one of the shops? And she immediately said, Knit Dallas.
Yeah.
So I didn't use our Knit Together email because I was afraid she would see it. So I sent, from my personal email, I sent Meredith an email and we arranged it all. And
super excited to have us here. So.
Yes. Yeah. And last time at McKinney, we filmed while it was open because they have much longer hours and it would just been really difficult to come before or after.
We did get up in the dark today.
Yes, today we got up at 5 a.m. and we arrived at about 7:45. And here we are. And so the doors open at 10:30. I don't know if any of you are on the way. I did put it on social media that we were going to be here. But it is just more peaceful. I know a lot of people, especially people with hearing issues or speak another language. It was hard with the distraction, with the background noises at McKinney. So thank you for watching it anyway. It was an experiment.
And we get involved in talking and honestly don't notice some of the background noise until it's in the can, as they say.
And then it's too late.
In the film industry. Kim has decided to go back to school and take some film classes.
Production classes.
So now that she knows everything, you've learned a ton of stuff from just on your own.
Right, Googling, asking people.
Produce the videos, yeah. So
trial and error. You guys have heard the error.
Yeah.
Seen the error, heard the error.
Now I can do this so much more quickly than I used to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yes, timestamps, so you can skip all the blather. I do want to say a big thank you to everybody who sent their condolences and wrote sweet messages. And, I could only process them. I said before, I'm a slow processor. I could only process them in kind of chunks, and had to go back and read. And grief is weird, especially when you are a primary caretaker. It's been a process. So good days and hard days. And I think the hardest part is I can't ask him any more questions, and I can't share new memories with him. So, but he was very ill at the end, and I'm glad that he is not suffering anymore, as they say. So anyway, and then
I was going to say, like when you went to Jonna, wasn't able to go on the Mayak retreat.
Yeah, he
in
died
June.
when
The
Kim was
Tuesday,
in Italy.
yep, the middle of the Mayak retreat. So it was really the right decision.
Yes.
I mean, no question.
I couldn't have been anywhere else. But my dad lived, if you don't know, he lived with me for 20 years. So I was not going to abandon him on his deathbed.
Right.
So, yeah.
So after the fact, she and her husband, after he had passed away, like the next month or 2 months later, they decided to do a little getaway in Cannon Beach. And one thing you said to me was, it's nice to be away, and Cannon Beach is beautiful, but this is the kind of thing where you would send your dad pictures.
I would, and he would have loved it. He was a boat captain on the San Francisco Bay, and so this was like his jam, the fog and the beautiful coastline, and he would have known why it was called Cannon Beach, and he would have known about all the boats that were passing by, and but then on the flip side, it was the first vacation I've taken where I didn't have to set up care for him. I didn't have to have friends check in on him. I didn't have to worry. So,
Because even when he wasn't, this last year, he was, definitely ill, and his health was declining. Even before that, since I met
elderly, and we lived in a house with 4 stories, lots of stairs, and
one time I came,
the cameras on him.
Yeah, one time I came and hung out with him while you were away visiting the grandchildren, and this other woman that we know, you had her come and hang out with him one time, just so
and the neighbors check on him.
He didn't need someone really, but just so he's not alone.
Right, right. So it was freeing to be able to just relax. So yeah, quick story. I picked up my 2 oldest grandsons, 10 and 12, for their back to school breakfast with Mimi, and I was going to take him to Dick's Sporting Goods to pick out something for school. And my daughter called me, not their mom, but my other daughter, who's pregnant.
When did this happen again? When was the baby born?
August 8th.
Right, so this is just last month.
Yeah, and so we're sitting at breakfast, and she's like, well, can you pick up my child and take him to this appointment? I said, oh yeah, we can do that. We'll all just go together. And then 10 minutes later, I get a text. She's like, can you just come and like hang out? And I'm feeling kind of off. And I said, oh yeah, let's go. And so we skipped.
Was she due? It wasn't her due date yet, right?
She was a couple days early.
Okay.
However, they do think that the baby was a couple days late, or maybe even a week late. I guess I can tell by the folds in their feet, the grooves in their feet. There was no vernix. Yeah, and he was a healthy size, shall we say? Like, oh, goodness gracious, big baby. So I get to her house, and she's leaning on the kitchen counter. I was like, yeah, so we're going to get in the car because it's a 20-minute drive.
We're going to cancel all the other plans.
To the birth center. So here I have 3 little boys. I have a 4-year-old, almost 4-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old, and my daughter who's in active labor in the car. And I'm driving the speed limit, and I just explained to the boys, this is all very natural, normal. She's making these noises. She's in pain, but this is normal. So we arrive at the birth center, and she had the baby shortly after we arrived.
Like minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Jonna almost gave birth to a baby. Or
I
caught
almost delivered a baby.
Yeah, almost caught a baby.
Which would be the second time. My other daughter had fast labor too. But so the boys hung out and watched TV in the little waiting room, and we had a baby.
Wow. And the baby was 9 pounds.
4 ounces.
Oh.
A little boy. She didn't know. It was a surprise. So that was cool.
Yeah. I'm happy she did that, because a lot of people find out. And
yeah.
It's fine either way, but it's really nice to,
and
there aren't many happy surprises in life.
There aren't.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And our whole family was there. My husband, my other daughter and her husband, all the children were there at the birth center. And so it was just and we were home like 4 hours later.
Another benefit of moving to Texas. It hasn't been an easy transition.
No.
But you would not have been here.
And my dad got to see all of his grandchildren and great-grandchildren the like 2 days up to his death.
And if he had passed in New York, I mean, he would have had you and your husband, but they wouldn't have all been there.
I wouldn't have had the love and support of, the presence of my family. So, yep. Anyway, a lot of
much
stuff
to catch up on.
Anyway, thanks for giving me the summer off. And I got my hair cut. Yes, I did. And I'm still figuring out how to manage it.
Yeah.
When you have long hair, you just throw it up in a ponytail or a bun and call it a day. But now I'm like, oh, what do I do? So I'm not one of those hair people. I'm not a very good hair person. So anyway.
Well, it looks gorgeous not being a hair person. And I got new glasses.
Oh, yes.
And I went blonde for the summer. I've gone blonde before. Coloring your hair, as many of you know, is
hard on your
chore.
Hair.
It's just a chore. And I just didn't want to deal with it in the summer. And now I also kind of trying to figure out what kind of hairstyle I want. I've had the same like kind of funky style for a while. So right now I just have the bangs twisted and bobby pinned back because I do not like bangs on my forehead. So I will wear it sometimes when I'm out with them swooping across looking kind of fun and glamorous, but I can't stand
annoying.
it. Yeah. So,
well, and I think people don't realize that her hair is actually quite dark.
yes, I would love to go gray, but I don't have enough yet.
Right.
Yeah. So,
She definitely has dark roots. So. Anyway.
which is also a fashion statement.
Right before COVID, you dyed it black or very, very dark brown for a movie because you were going to sing
right.
at
I was
your German singing group. You were going to sing in Sleepy Hollow
at a
Cemetery.
funeral, right?
At a funeral.
They didn't want purple, blue.
So that was the only time I've seen you with kind of your natural color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I can't decide what to do for Rhinebeck. So if you have any suggestions, should I just keep it blonde and do easy, or should I do a color? I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. Anyway,
well, it looks great.
Put it in the comments.
All right, what we're wearing. Are we ready, or do you have more?
Can I do my other little things first?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, and I'll do them fast.
Okay.
It's been a long time since a video, so relax.
This is supposed to be one of my FOs, so I'll try and FO it while you're talking.
Yeah. So I traveled a lot this summer, so it was nice to have the break. And even I went on the Mayak retreat. My husband came as my non-knitting spouse. It was our second year. He loved it the first year. He loved it just as much this year. And then I think the next thing was I did go to the Needles at the Ready Boys had their very first trunk show for their yarn in the summer, and it was at Pick Up Every Stitch, so I went there. That was really the first time I had been back to Pick Up Every Stitch since Jonna moved. Oh gosh. And that's how it was that day. I just wanted to cry. Anyway. Pull it together. So I just kind of browsed around. I did buy beautiful yarn of theirs, I think a merino and a mohair to make. I think I'm going to make the Felix cardigan out of it eventually. Like a pink is beautiful. I don't have it with me. I can't bring everything to Dallas. But I really just sat at the table and just hung out, and it was really, really lovely. So that was fun. And then what else? Last thing I did was went to Canada again, to the cabin, the off-the-grid cabin. It was super fun, super relaxing, and I did some yarniness up there too. So I brought with me what I'm working on now. Is this what I needed it for? I can't remember. It was either this or my test knit I'm working on, and I didn't have the right knitting needles. I had all my knitting needles with me, my interchangeables, but I didn't have exactly what I needed. So there's a yarn shop in Halliburton called Jan Knits, and I had been there before, maybe twice before, but never met the owner. So I walk in there, and I usually never leave the cabin. But I said to my husband, honey, we have to go buy knitting needles. So we drove there, and we walk in, and I go to the back, and I say to the woman working there, I say, I'm so sorry, but do you have Chalgo interchangeables, and do you have this? And she goes, oh, I recognize your voice. Do you have a... And I said, YouTube channel? Yeah. She said, oh, yes, I watch you. And you know those sweaters you made for your grandchildren? I knitted one. It's right over there. So, yeah, she carried that yarn and knitted one of the hide and seek sweaters by Danny Sunshine. And so we took a picture. I took a picture with her. Her name is Jan Knit. So Jan Knits. Now I get it. And she's so sweet and lovely. So hi, Jan. It was so wonderful to be in your shop again. And then we were in there last year when we left. I realized that Kim McBrien Evans, who I've talked about many times, she does these amazing sweater construction classes at Vogue Knit Live, boob camp. It's like how to make a sweater fit you if you're not the average. Yeah, one of them is.
Did you mean to say boot camp?
No, boob
she
camp.
meant to say boob camp.
Yeah, so how to adjust a sweater if you have,
a bigger bust,
a bosom.
Okay.
Or a shorter torso, all these ways to, and there are a series of classes, and she's amazing. So if you can take a class with her, any class, take a class with Kim McBrien Evans. But she also dyes yarn, and her company is Indigo Dragonfly. Okay. And I realized last year that it's also in Halliburton. I mean, come on. So again, no warning. We just looked up the address and drove there, and it looked like it was closed. Actually, the closed sign was in the window. So I was turning around to take a selfie in front of the sign, and I hear a man say, "May I help you?" And it's her husband. He opens the door. She was leaving for Flock Fiber Festival in 2 days, so they were there kind of preparing. All of her yarn was packed, but she invited us in. We got to look at her dye shop, her dye area, and see. I did buy a kit. I bought a kit for her Light of the Valkyrie. It's a really beautiful short row, kind of wavy, gravy yoke, and then you can buy yarn to create the rest of the sweater. And they're all her yarns, and it's really beautiful. And it was Kim. Thank you so much for opening the door, and to her husband. I forgot his name. Oops. But it was really fun and lovely. If you're in that area, you have to go by and see that shop. And next year, when we're in Canada, me, my husband, our friend Conrad, she offered that we could come and do a dye class.
Oh, fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I might announce it, and I don't know how many people are allowed. Maybe ask if there's any viewers up there that want to join us next summer and do a dye class at Indigo Dragonfly. And one of my favorite things, besides the yarn that I got there, was I bought a project bag. I do not have it with me. It's a Wonder Twin Fibers project bag with roller skates and flowers and rainbows. I love it so much. And she gave me Indigo Dragon. Kim McBrien Evans is definitely a proponent of inclusive sizing, and that means both ends of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. Smaller than a size small and larger than a size extra large. And she even believes that measuring tapes should be size inclusive, because measuring tapes typically end at 60 inches, right? And so hers goes to, oh gosh, I can't remember now. I even looked at it. No. Here we go. Let's see.
My grandchildren love to play with the buttons on this.
So 60 inches is like 152 centimeters. That's a typical one. This goes to 80 inches, over 200 centimeters. So thank you, Kim, for my size-inclusive measuring tape. And yarn shops, definitely think about carrying size-inclusive measuring tapes. Yeah. So that was very sweet of her to gift that to me. So I am finally, I think, finished, except I did get to meet another podcaster recently. I can't remember when I met her. I don't know when it was. It was at Pick Up Every Stitch. Kimberly McAlinden. I got to meet her at Pick Up Every Stitch. She was there for an event. It was it was a trunk show for Primrose Yarn. Mm-hmm. And I got to meet her there, and she is so lovely. And she's invited us to be in her booth at Rhinebeck, during Rhinebeck weekend at Cakepalooza.
Yeah.
So we'll be there in the morning, and I'm not sure exactly what time yet, but we'll be there. We'll be at Cakepalooza in the morning. We'll talk about that in a little while. At the end. We'll talk about Rhinebeck at the end. Okay. So I'm finished talking. I did go back to college, mainly because I wanted to take French, and the continuing education French class would have been a Saturday afternoon, and online, and I wanted an in-person class. So I thought, maybe I'll re-enroll in college. So I found a French 101 class that I signed up for. It hasn't started yet. But then I thought, do you have video production classes? And they have a whole film department and a whole film associate's degree. So I am taking my first film class, Film 130, with Craig Padower. And I've already learned enough in the first 2 weeks to make it completely worth taking the class. I don't know if you'll see that in this video, but I have. It's a little overwhelming and intimidating because I am the only 60-year-old in the class. But it's been really fun, and I've definitely made friends with the equipment guru. Mm-hmm. He is the assistant, and he sits in the office next door if we need technical help during class or to rent us equipment that we can borrow. So I told him I would shout him out, "Hey, Justin!" I showed him our new intro video, and he loved it. He said, "That's not your car." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Did you drive it here? I want to see it." So the next time I drove it there, and we got a selfie. Maybe I'll insert the selfie. But thank you for your help, Justin. That's it. I'm done. Let's talk about knitting.
Okay. Okay, what we're wearing.
Okay, you can go first. I just talked for so long.
Okay. So I was really proud of myself. I don't know, part of this whole grieving situation, I don't know what it's, maybe mild depression related. I just couldn't make a decision to save my life. You know, I guess I was maybe decision fatigue, have to make a lot of decisions related to my dad. I just couldn't pick a pattern. I couldn't pick yarn. And I think I had mentioned in our last podcast that I really like this Sabai top by Susanna Mueller. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. I'm looking at her because I asked her how to pronounce that correctly. Who was also Paula
Strict.
Yeah, on
genau.
Instagram. And it's just a very simple summer top. There's actually 2 versions. This is version 2. It doesn't have any ribbing. Version 1 has ribbing at the neck, ribbing at the hem. And I think some people have put some ribbing. I don't know if that's in the pattern or not. Down the side seam. I don't know if that's in the pattern or just a modification. But I walked into my yarn closet and I had the Sanis Garnlina in there in this color. And I found some needles and cast on. So, like I said, not one purl stitch in the whole top. It's knit in the round from the top down. So you cast on the neck edge and then do a lot of increasing right here. And I have to say, these cover my bra straps perfectly. It's super comfortable. Nothing's slipping off. And it has a beautiful kind of boat neckline, which I really, really love. I love beautiful. I think collarbones are one of the prettiest things on a woman.
They're sexy, dare I say.
Yeah. And I made the size small. So it's a pattern from extra small to XXL. So to fit a chest measurement of 30 to 32 inches to 47 to 50 inches. So maybe not the most size inclusive pattern. And one of our viewers, Karen/Carmen from Spain, had made it, and it looked beautiful on her. And I have to say, it is a very easy top to wear. It's very comfortable. The yarn is drapey. Some people say that Lena is a little splitty, and I have to say, I'm not one of those people who can knit and look away anyway. But I didn't find it particularly
I'm knitting
splitty.
with it right now. I find it fine.
Yeah, and it's 53% cotton. So it's half cotton, and then
33%
viscose, and then maybe 14% linen. It's machine washable, which I have not washed it in the machine. I did wash it by hand. I hung it to dry because I was okay with it growing a little bit in length. And it would dry a lot faster if it was hanging. And so, yeah, easy to wear, easy carry yarn, and easy to knit.
Nice.
So it was nice, just round and round. So obviously you start at the top and knit the front and back separately until you join underneath the arms. And there's a nice little I-cord edge, so it looks finished. And yeah, so anyway, highly recommend. I would definitely make a second one. It's even comfortable to wear in this Texas hot weather.
I love it. It's so beautiful.
I really love it.
Yeah, and everybody loved when you the whole summer Jonna was not on social media.
I got on Instagram. I was like, wait a minute, there's like new buttons and new features, and it was asking me questions. I'm like, I don't know the answers to these, so let me just make a post, okay? So,
but that post got over 1,000 likes, and everybody was really happy to see you and your new haircut.
I know, which I'm still adjusting to, but I'm fine. So I've had long hair most of my life. Nice. But I was like, oh, I can feel my neck. It feels weird. It's fine. Yeah. So what else did I want to say? Anything? I don't think so. I did choose the small because the pattern recommended 0 to negative ease. So, and I used the size 6 and I got gauge.
Nice.
Lucky me. Yeah. I would only just suggest that when you're making these increases, you do make them on every round, and just be sure that your increases are not sloppy, but generous, because it's tight. It's tight to get your needle in there, but it makes it really pretty.
Makes it a nice structured. It doesn't stretch out and hang off your shoulder.
I tried to make that balloon sweater by Petite Knit, and it was increases on every round. I can't do it. I can't do it. And now I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't love it, but I can do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny.
So yeah, talk about this gorgeousness. She showed up in this with the Jonna dress, which is a quince. Did I mention that? Yeah, quince. I don't know, Quinco.
And the fabric I had on was like a seersucker in a way, like blue and white stripes.
Yeah,
linen,
it
looked like that stripe.
It was really pretty. So this is just a stunning garment. So
yay,
take it away.
I will. So yeah, I am wearing my Triana cardigan designed by Marina Storm, and Marina and I are now friends. She's one of the people when I found out Jonna was moving, Jonna wasn't ready to announce it. Her father was ill. She didn't know when it was going to happen. So I knew a few months ahead of time, but we didn't talk about it on the channel. So I was like, who can I talk to? So Carmen, Karen from Spain was one person I called that could understand my, happiness for you, because you were going to be able to be with all your grandchildren and all your children.
I keep telling Kim, I have a car seat in my car. Never have. She's always had car seats in her car. I have a car seat, a dedicated car seat.
Yay.
Yeah.
Grandma happiness.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to burden Jonna with my sadness. And so I needed to talk to somebody. So I called WhatsApp. I talked to Carmen from Spain and also Marina in Germany. And they definitely were, I could like cry on their virtual shoulders. But last year when I went to the Mayak retreat, Marina came down with her husband to meet me in person. She lives in Germany, and they were going to vacation in Austria anyway, and it's kind of close, so I told her where we would be. She came down before the retreat, got a room in the hotel, and I met her. Anyway, too much information. But she was wearing her Triana cardigan, and it's designed to be sleeveless. As you can tell, I added sleeves. But I am really sold by samples. Okay, this wasn't a sample. It was actually her garment. But as soon as I saw it, honestly, the picture on the pattern would not have made me want to knit it. And that's often the case with me. But show me a sample, like this gorgeousness, we'll talk about it later, behind us. That's what really sells me. And I can touch it and see how it hangs on the body, and I just knew I had to knit it. So right when I got back last year, I bought, this is Sandnes Garn Tin Line. So it's the fingering version of Lina, so the same fiber content, 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. And it sat on my shelf until this summer. I said, you know what, I need to knit that, because I want to have something in the summer. You know, you go into air conditioning or it's a cool evening. I wanted something loose and lightweight that I could wear over summer garments like this dress. So I picked it up and I started knitting. It's bottom up. And I did make some changes. Instead of a 2-stitch I-cord edge along the front, I did a 3-stitch. I can't remember which video I watched. It's really more like a 3-stitch double knitting thing. And I just felt like for me it just was a little more structure to it. The pattern has ribbing up the side seam. And of course I kept that. And then when I got up to the top, I realized there was no neck shaping, and I just felt like for me, I think it would fit better with neck shaping. So I added neck shaping, and I wanted the I-cord to continue up. I knew it also didn't, it had just a raw edge in the pattern, just a bind off edge, and I wanted a neckband, a ribbed neckband. So I also wanted the I-cord to continue. So I thought to myself, you know how when you do neck shaping, you bind off the few stitches across and then you start the neck shaping? I thought, why would I bind these off? I could just put them on waste yarn and then pick them back up when I do the neckband. So that's what I did, and it worked. And so yeah, I held the center of the neck front on waste yarn, and then did the neck shaping, and it was knit in the round. And so, you know, normally when you divide for the arm opening. Oh, by the way, when you divide for the arm opening, she had kind of a ribbed edge, because it was going to be the, you know, just sleeveless, so to make it finished. But what I did is I just did 2 knit stitches on my edge, so that in between I could pick up stitches on those bars between the 2 knit stitches on my armhole edge. And of course, you know me, when I divided for the 3 parts, right front, left front, and back, I just knit them all at the same time, because I'm doing the shaping all at the same time. And then also, when I got to the shoulders, there was going to be no shoulder shaping. So I just did like 3 rows, or 4 rows, short rows, and a little shoulder shaping, and she did have a 3-needle bind off, so I did that. And it turned out perfectly. Then I picked up the stitches for the sleeves, and yeah, I love it.
It's great.
And I did some slight decreases. I did not want it to be tight at all. I wanted to be able to wear a blouse under it. I wanted to be able to wear a dress. You know, in the summer when it's 95 degrees, I can wear this. It's so light and airy.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah. And then when I did the neckband, I just put those stitches back on my needle and picked up the rest of the stitches. I think I also kept the back neck stitches live and just did the a few rows of ribbing, and I did one buttonhole here, and then Karen and Felicia gifted me this beautiful little flower button. Isn't it so sweet?
Yeah, it's very cute.
So I can wear it closed like that if I want to, because if I'm really active, it slips off my shoulders. And I did block it after I made it, but then I also washed it before I came here. I put it in a garment bag, washed it in the washing machine on delicate, and then I laid it flat to dry overnight, and then the next day I think I put it back in the garment bag no, I didn't. I put it in the dryer with a towel and tumbled it for 15 minutes, and it came out perfectly. It does grow a little bit when I wear it. But I love it. Thank you, Marina, for this beautiful, beautiful design. The details, I'm pretty sure they're all on Ravelry. So let's see. I made the size... I used the suggested needle size, which was a 4 for the ribbing and a 6 for the lace work. I made a size 4, and I cast it on June 13th and bound off on July 16th, so it took me about a month to make it. I think that's it. Yep, that's it.
Cool.
I love it.
It's really great.
Yay.
Love it.
Okay, finished objects.
Well, it was supposed to be finished, but we went out for Mexican food last night, and I had a mojito.
Just one mojito. Just one.
But honestly, by the time we got home, I knit a few stitches, and then we had to get up really early, like I said, to come here. So anyway, this was supposed to be an FO.
It is an FO.
It is nearly an FO. So
it'll be finished today.
I want to say this is my 6th or 5th. I'm not sure. 5th or 6th Manhattan hat by Tori Yu. And I ran up to pick up every stitch to the hospital that my dad was at in March, maybe. It's just around the corner from Pick Up Every Stitch. And so I'd taken him to the emergency room thinking it was just going to be a quick in and out. It wasn't. So he was there for at least 5 days. So I didn't have any knitting with me. I ran up to Pick Up Every Stitch and I said, hey, I just need to knit around and around and around. So another Manhattan hat came into my life. I'm like, I want brown. So I have a really, really dark blue that could pass as black. And then I have an oatmeal one that's made out of Mayak. And this one, oh my goodness. When podcasters wax lyrical about yarn and they're like, oh, it's so squishy and oh, it's so soft. Okay. This is like 100% squishy, 100% soft. I absolutely love it. It is Walcott Origin. It's a worsted weight yarn. It's 50% merino and 50% wool, so other. I think the wool comes from Peru or it's spun in Peru. Don't take my word for that. Look it up. Comes in beautiful drenched colors. And it's brown and it's called Beaver's Dam. And here is my Manhattan hat. And I always make the double folded brim. I do the decreases knitwise, so inside out.
Inside out knitwise.
So this is
increases.
Actually the inside of the hat. Yeah. And it's just 1x1 rib, around and around. It does have a tubular cast on, and I use Jackie Rose's tubular cast on video from her shrug pattern. And it's on YouTube. It's free. And for me, it just eases my mind. There's no, is this a purl stitch? Is this a knit stitch? Did I twist my cast on? There's none of that. So it's a fail safe. Is that the right thing? Fail safe? Yeah, fail safe. And so I'm here just about the end. You reduce the stitches and then you Kitchener and then turn it right side out. I will say, and I think I said that in a previous video, if you need to add another ball of yarn, be sure that you know that you're working on the wrong side. So leave your yarn ends visible.
On the outside, right.
Don't tuck them into the inside because that will be the outside.
And you'll just have to move them later.
Yeah, and you'll just have to move them later. But the first time I did that, I was like, oh, what have I done?
I messed up.
So yeah, I know that I love the Oslo hat, but I love the little, it's almost like a duck bill on the top of your head.
When we were at church, when I got here on Sunday, there was a beautiful, lots of wonderful singers on church.
Oh, and she was wearing she's wearing a Manhattan hat.
It was like a neon green, yellowish green, and it looked
exactly. It was 90 degrees outside, but it was cool.
And she was wearing it the right way with the thing.
I always
parallel to the ears.
The brim or the crown and make sure that it's like not crooked.
It's flat, you know.
It is very flat.
It's like
I don't know. I think it's
a
cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Hat. So anyway, love this yarn. Like I keep squishing it.
It's really beautiful.
It's rib, so it's beautiful. Anyway, so that was supposed to be another FO.
It is an FO. It will be finished today before this
today.
video, and we'll take
Today.
pictures.
It's knit on a US size 6. I did make the adult medium, and again by Tori Yu, and she has some great patterns.
Mm-hmm.
She really does. She's another one of those like young knitting phenom
Gurus.
Yeah. So we have another young knitting phenom to talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my second FO.
Yay. Because you didn't knit much this summer at all. So.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was paralyzed by decision making.
Yeah.
And I would think I wanted to cast something on, and then I,
Even finishing the things you already have, you just didn't feel like picking
No,
them up.
I didn't feel like picking up my cobalt blue also sweater. But I am going to Germany in December, and so I think that'll be a really beautiful sweater to wear there. To visit my friend Anya and to go to the oldest Christmas market in the world, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so envious.
I know. I wish you could be there.
I know. I'll be there in spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a few FOs. One is old. I don't have it here. I did finish my granddaughter's Aqua by Kim Hargraves in Barocco Wizard. The color turquoise. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. And all of it is on my Ravelry. I'm really not going to go through the whole thing. Especially in the previous episode, I talk a lot about it. This is episode 28. So in episode 27, go back and find how I talk about the Aqua. It's supposed to be knit in pieces, bottom up, back, front, and 2 sleeves. I did convert it to in the round. Based on my gauge, I did a gauge swatch, and I liked my little bit tighter gauge, so I made my granddaughter Scarlett an XXL, but her bust is like 29 and a half inches. So, yeah, so just so you know, I still did, even though I converted it to in the round, when I divided for the front and back, I still did the set-in sleeve shaping. I was toying with maybe making it a drop shoulder because it would be, quote, easier. But I said, no, I want to challenge myself. So I did. I was so proud of myself. I did the set-in sleeve. I think I talk about it in episode 27. So go listen to it. I did the set-in sleeves. She wanted it a little cropped. Kim Hargraves goes down by her bum. So I made it a little shorter. I cast it on April 10th and bound off on May 25th. But just so you know, this really taught me, I've seen this in the past with a few things. Knitting a swatch is great, and we should knit swatches, but it really, really doesn't give you the full story. Because you can knit a swatch, you can hang it wet with paper, with weight on it.
But that swatch is tiny.
Yes, knitting an entire garment, and then the weight of that garment as the person wears it, or even as you pull it out of the water, even if you're careful. This is superwash. Superwash is notorious for growing, but I also did, I don't knit with a lot of superwash. It grew a lot, but my granddaughter's still growing, right? So in a way, it's great because she can grow into it. It fits my daughter, Elena, perfectly, like as is. So it actually turned out to be really lovely in that way. We did have a viewer mention, though, it's not really washing machine superwash. It will felt up and just get weird. So anyway, I'm going to insert pictures. It's lovely, and my granddaughter loves it. One thing we did, I didn't know the sleeves are super long, but again, they fit my daughter, Elena. But what Scarlett, we decided to do is it has those big holes, and so we made it like a thumb shirt with the thumb sleeves, and I told her these holes are where you're going to put your thumbs through, and then it like blouses around her wrists. It's so cute, and it's just lovely. And I'm just really happy with it. So you're going to see those pictures. If you have any questions, please let me know. And then I'll just talk about another one because you don't have any more FOs, which is fun.
No.
Okay.
I have one whip.
You're wearing, yeah, okay. So I also knitted, this was one of last year's projects. I knitted now both projects from last year's Mayak retreat. I knitted the Solar sweater last year, and I wore it to Rhinebeck, designed by Joji Locatelli. And I had bought this kit last year at the retreat, or before the retreat, and I finally knitted this shawl, and it is gorgeous!
And you were thinking, oh, I'll make this for my mom, and now you're like, no.
Because I'm not a shawl person.
Right.
But now I've made what's the Jackie Rose shawl that I made? The one with the bright purple, and isn't it Jackie Rose?
You made the butterfly shawl for your mom.
No. The one with Birdie. You made.
The Soho Square.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Soho Square. I wore that all winter. So I'm not a shawl person, but I wore that all winter. Thank you, Jackie
It's
Rose.
a really functional garment.
It really is.
So lightweight and warm.
I did buy yarn to make a new one, by the way. I don't know when, but and so I made this shawl, and I had it finished before the retreat, and I got to wear it on the way there. I have a fun picture my husband took of me wearing it somewhere in Milan.
And it's just beautiful.
It's so lightweight.
Not my color, so I won't steal it, but it's so pretty.
Yeah, it's really, really, really lovely. So it's Sotto il Sole by Joji Locatelli. Both designs, she said, she was inspired by the sun and the Dolomites. Yeah, beautiful. It's in baby yak silk. These colors are Fieno and Savitri. It's 50% baby yak, 50% silk. It was suggested a US 5. I looked back. Have you ever done this? If I'm knitting another sweater from a designer, I look back at previous sweaters and see how much my needle size changed, no matter what yarn it is.
Right.
And then I
because
can kind of guess.
Their tension is their tension. Right.
And so I decided to go up to a US 6, and I'm happy I did. I cast this on May 26th and bound off on June 5th. Is that possible? Wow, I knit that fast. And I love Joji's bobble technique. She has a great bobble technique where you...
Perky bobbles.
Yeah, you kind of like Kristen Lara says, you like strangle it. You know, you wrap the yarn around the way you... Anyway.
Oh.
So they're really perky and they pop out. But I love this, and I wore this... the rest of the spring I wore it in the Dolomites, and it's so light and gorgeous. And yay, I have a second shawl. I was tempted to give it to someone, not you, because I have all this other stuff for you. But I was like, it's the first time I've ever felt like this. I just can't part with it. I love it so much. So the last thing I made.
Then she pulls this out. I'm like, oh, that's kind of my color.
Yeah. Now I'm remembering. This is when I met Kimberly McAlinden. I went to, it was local yarn shop day, I think. So actually, this was the first time I had been there without you. And that's when I sat at the table with Kimberly McAlinden, and yeah, it was really nice to just talk to somebody. And I whispered to her, because we hadn't announced it on the channel that you had moved. But Karen Altabeff had designed this kerchief, but it can also, this is the 1 skein version. There's also a 2 skein version, and you can use as many skeins as you want and make it as big as you want. But it's called Grace by Karen Altabeff of Pick Up Every Stitch. And it was, local yarn shop day was also a trunk show for Primrose yarn. And this is knit in Primrose Homestead Sport and a special colorway that was designed for that event for Pick Up Every Stitch, and it is called New York State of Mind. And it's 100% American superwash merino. I used a US 6. It was suggested US 5. In some ways, I wish I had used a bigger needle to make it a little bigger so it could wrap around and pin in front, but it's beautiful the way it is. And I brought it here, and I don't think I would wear it. I love knitting it, and I brought it here, and I was like, Jonna, this would look so good on you. So,
and I happen to have a blue coat, just this color. I'm like, oh, I'll take that off your hands.
So it's Jonna's.
Yay!
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Happy early birthday!
Thank you.
Yeah. So I love it.
It's super soft. The yarn is very soft. Sometimes this kind of spin cycle yarn isn't next to skin soft, but yeah, super soft. I love it.
It's really looks so cute on you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. And there is a mistake in there. I think one side has one less stitch than the other, and I couldn't figure out where, so I just left it.
Uh-oh.
It is what it is.
And I'm an accessory girl, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love that I started the yarn with I really thought
with the
blue on top and the green on the bottom.
By my face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's it. That's all my FOs.
Nice.
Fun.
Thank you.
So whips. You're welcome.
Yeah. So I only have one whip.
Go for it.
Okay.
It's better than none.
Yes.
Well, one whip that you brought with you.
I have one whip that
you're currently working on. Yes.
I am working on my Oslo sweater, but just slow going. We did have a member Zoom. If you'd like to become a member, I'll just throw in our plug right now. If you'd like to become a member of the channel, there is a little tab underneath the video that says join.
You have to be on a desktop version.
You have to be on a desktop version.
Or maybe an iPad works, but definitely on a phone, mobile version, the join tab is not there.
so every month for our Cable 3 members, we have a member Zooms where we just talk about what we're knitting. Last Zoom, we invited, though, all of our members. Yeah, so we had a lot of viewers. It was super fun. But one viewer was knitting the sleeve of a sweater in the round, and she had the whole sweater in a bag, so she could just turn the bag as she was knitting the sleeve. So that's what I need to do with my Oslo sweater, because it's super annoying to be twisting and untwisting the sweater. So anyway, to my whip. This is the Adamson vest by Ryu Yamamuro for Woolfolk, and I did purchase the yarn that the sample was knit in, which is Woolfolk 2. I am told that is how we pronounce Tage. We thought maybe it was Taga,
like German Tag.
Yeah. So it's Tag. It's 2, and it is 70% merino and 30% mohair, and it's quite fuzzy, I will say.
And it's a worsted weight, right?
It is the worsted weight. And I cast on the size 3 with the recommended needle, and we all know I don't gauge swatch, so whatever.
Your garment is your gauge swatch.
It is. And I like the fabric, so I thought, and it's not looking like ginormous or anything, but I did check, and I am quite off on gauge. It's a 19 stitch gauge according to the pattern, and I have 17 stitches. So the little rhyme that is in my head is if your gauge is too small, then your garment will be too big. So honestly, it's easy enough to just size down to the size 1. So I cast on the size 3, I'm sizing down to the size 1. However, for maybe the first time ever in my whole entire knitting career, my row gauge is on for some odd reason. Like, my row gauge is usually like 8 rows off, like big time. But a lot of patterns are just knit to a certain length.
Right.
So it's not like knit to a certain number of rows. That said, the increases are done in such a way that it is by row. So I am conscious of my row gauge, and the length of the garment I still want to be the size 3, but the width of the garment I want to be size 1. So it's a really simple, beautiful little vest. It's got some eyelets that make a pretty design on the front and the back. And I thought, you know what? It can be warm at Rhinebeck. And so I thought I could wear this sleeveless with nothing underneath it, or a camisole or something. Or I could wear it over a blouse.
Or even like a white t-shirt, a little white t-shirt.
Yeah. So I think it's a really useful garment. It's a beautiful color. It's funny. My new house is definitely got different decor than my old house. I mean, it's a brand new house. It's more contemporary, but it's full of mauves and soft rose colors and a sage green. And so evidently I am into whatever color this is, which is sort of a gray taupe lavender. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
There are some increases here at the shoulder. This is the back, so you cast on for the back. And you can see I'm making the increases for the underarm shaping. And then I will pick up stitches here at the shoulders and knit the 2 fronts and the V-neck shaping, and then join it all underneath the arms, and then knit in the round down to the hem. And it does, so there is ribbing on the V-neck, the arms, and the hem, and it's twisted rib, and it's twisted both knit stitches and purl stitches.
And I've never done that. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know, like, on the ranunculus that that's technically half twisted. No idea. Learn something new every day.
Because this yarn is super fuzzy, knitting through or purling through the back loop is annoying. And I'm all about not being annoying with my knitting. So I'm plenty annoyed with other stuff.
Exactly.
Don't need to have my knitting be annoying.
Each day has enough trouble of its own.
Exactly. So I'm going to do half twisted rib, only twist the knit stitches. And I honestly,
It'll be fun.
It's really hard to catch a twisted purl stitch. So I honestly don't even know how important that would be. You do you. Do what you want to do.
It might just make it stiffer.
It might make it stiffer.
Because it's
right. Because you don't have that slack.
Right.
But I'm going to do.
But a half twisted rib is already stiffer than a regular rib. Yeah.
It's tighter.
Right. And it opens up and it stays, like, you know how rib like has that elasticity, so it just stays more open. Yeah, but it's fine. That's what I did here.
So,
I mean, I have a lot of elasticity.
That's what I'm doing. So hopefully I have this done in time for Rhinebeck. I can't remember if I need to do more increases or not. So I don't really have knitting because everything's kind of at
not an easy place.
No, not an easy place.
Finishing
So
the
I'm
hat.
just going to sit here and listen to
Well, we're
you.
almost done anyway, really.
Yeah. Maybe drink my coffee.
There you go. It's way over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 whips. One is in my lap, and it's my outline tee. My friend Elise made one of these a couple years ago in Sannisgarn Lena, and I absolutely loved it. It was so magical. It looks like a store-bought garment, and you know, some people are like, why do you want it to look store-bought? In all the good ways, like.
Well, I thought that about this.
Yeah.
Like, it was so perfect. That was why I thought perhaps it was store-bought.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's complicated, and it just
looked like you couldn't possibly have made that.
Right. Yeah. So it doesn't look homemade in that it's not like messy or sloppy or whatever. So anyway, the outline tee, obviously, it's by Jessie Made, the pattern, and I've already put a picture in now. And it's a cropped t-shirt, basically like a rectangle with a V-neck, and it's called the outline tee because it's bottom up, and you cast on with, I can't remember if it was.
It looks tubular.
I did the tubular cast on, but I don't think it called for it. But I did it, and then it's twisted rib. Right after you finish the rib. Half twisted rib, yes. Right after you finish the rib, you place markers at the center front, the center back, and the 2 side seams. And then I think 1 or 2 stitches away from those markers, in that first round, you bind off 1 stitch and do a yarn over.
Is that why it looks almost like there's little holes?
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. So it looks like there's little holes because there are. And then you finish knitting the whole thing. You do the V-neck. I think the V-neck is the raw edge. There's no ribbing. I can't remember now. Looking at the pattern. I'm not looking at the pattern. And you finish it. And then I remember I was with Elise when she did this, and she hadn't done. I've never done anything like this, but she was nervous.
It's like steeking.
So we checked. We checked to make sure that we were dropping the correct stitch. But up at the top, you drop a stitch, and I can't remember if you cast one on or yarn over to create that stitch again. But you literally drop those stitches and pull them apart, and it leaves the little ladders, and that creates an outline along the V-neck and all the way down the front and along the side seams, and it's even in the back. I love it when a detail is not just on the front, but repeated on the back. You know what I mean? I just think it just makes sense. So I'm knitting that, and I love it. It's so mindless. It's just like round and around and around. And Jonna looked at it. She's like, it looks so big. It looks too big for you. But it calls for 6 to 12.
Her patterns are very size inclusive and a large amount of ease.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be a drop shoulder. The sleeves aren't even really like sleeves necessarily. You pick up the stitches and you just do ribbing. Probably twisted rib, I'm assuming. And it calls for 6 to 12 inches of positive ease. And at your more than your full bust, my full bust is 44. And so I decided to, you know, I still don't know what silhouettes I like, but I thought if I don't try it, I'm not going to know.
Well, and we talked about this, like some garments you want to be oversized, and then sometimes I want a more fitted silhouette. So, you know, I thought, oh, maybe I don't like oversized garments, but I don't think that's true. I think it depends on the garment. I think it depends on how you're planning
what
to
you're
wear
wearing
it.
with it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I am making the size the 52 inch, which then that would be 8 inches of positive ease, right? And it's going to even get bigger a little bit when you release those stitches because it spreads apart. It's suggested a US 5 or 4. I did my gauge swatch, and I'm using a US 6 and 5. And I don't think I have any other details because I'm just like, you know, knitting in the round. So, but it's really fun, mindless. It was great on the airplane. The other project I'm working on, I'll show you in a minute, but at this point I really don't take it out of the house because it's a lot of balls of yarn, and it's heavy and it's gorgeous, but it's just a lot to carry around, and it just was too much to juggle. I can't be social when I'm knitting it, really. But anyway, so I love that. I can't wait to finish my outline tee by Jessie Made.
Yay.
Oh, I got the yarn, this beautiful pink from Pick Up Every Stitch, but they do not carry Sannisgarn anymore, just so you know. Yeah.
But they do here.
They do here. Look at that. Call Knit Dallas.
Yeah, so Knit Dallas. Is it knitdallas.com, Meredith?
Yes.
Okay. She has a fabulous website. You can order online. She will ship it to you. In fact, I ordered the Woolfolk 2, and she shipped it to my house. I live about an hour away. So yeah, go ahead
And
go
Anya
online.
ordered it. What did Anya?
Oh, my friend Anya, I haven't seen it yet. So she's in Germany. She ordered it. I'm picking it up in the store and then bringing it to New York because she's going to Rhinebeck. And she's actually who I'm visiting in Germany for the Christmas markets. She mentioned that. She's like, "Do you like Christmas?" I'm like, I love Christmas. Like, I could have Christmas tree up year round.
Yes.
But speaking of Knit Dallas, I did want to show. Do you want to talk about the samples quickly before you talk about your last FO, or how do you want to do this? I just thought we're talking about Knit Dallas, so we could just show some of the.
I'll just do this fast. I'm not going to talk a lot about it.
All right, she'll do it really fast.
Because I'll do the details in the other.
Now, this sweater
video.
she could literally wear on the North Pole with maybe not a jacket over it. Like, it is so dense, but it is so soft.
Soft and squishy.
But this thing weighs how much? 800 grams?
It weighs 2.5 pounds right now.
It's a very heavy sweater. But it's mosaic knitting.
Mm-hmm.
So every row is 2 rows.
I don't think of it that way because you're still seeing all the stitches.
Like, oh,
and Beth said she did too, but I'm like, no, it's not. It's not double knitting.
It's like knitting 2 sweaters.
But it isn't, because each of these, it's still 1 row. The gauge is slightly different though than regular flat knitting, but anyway. So this is the Sargasso Boxy Raglan by Beth McDonald Stone. And I saw this, she was posting her progress designing it, and one of the pictures, I think she had the body done and was going to start the sleeves. And I saw her post on Instagram and I was like, I have to make this. And I reposted it and said, I have to make this. And then she messaged me and she said, do you want to be a test knitter? And I said, well, first of all, I've never been a test knitter. Second of all, I do not like deadline knitting. And she said, well, I'm super easygoing. Give me your email, add you to the email list. And, you can decide if you want.
However, I knew would be the best test knitter ever. You're meticulous, you're experienced, you recognize mistakes easily, you think about creative ways to solve those mistakes. You don't just say, oh, there's a mistake, you fix it.
And I've helped a lot of beginners. I don't need a lot of explanation.
You do a lot of
patterns
teaching
anymore, right?
Exactly.
So I can see a pattern and say, a beginner is going to have this question, and I'm trying to knit it the way she intended. I can easily just modify it if I don't understand, but I would ask her and say, what do you intend for this? And because it's not, if something wasn't clear, I would say, maybe you should say this. But anyway, so I said yes, and I sent a picture of it to Karen and Felicia picked out this yarn for me right before I went to Canada.
The sample has some beautiful, bright pink in it and some green. It's really, really
She
pretty.
also has an olive green. She used a different yarn. I'm using Julie Asseline Fino. And the cobalt is the exact same yarn you're using in your blue sweater. She's holding it with mohair, matching mohair. But I told Karen, I told Felicia, purples and blues and maybe greens. And I bought exactly what she suggested. And so let me look at my notes. I really don't want to talk about this because the next episode it'll be finished and I'll talk about it more. So the colors I'm using are Shetland, Yellow Tang, Cobalt, and Lupin. It's 75% merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% silk. So it's a similar fiber content that the one Beth made.
With a similar drape.
Similar drape. It has lots of, what would you call a body? It's
round?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to say stiff. It's not stiff at all, but it doesn't drape this way. You know what I mean? It just hangs nice and straight. I love it.
Well, so, it's weighty. So I think the weight of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you cast on the top with she suggests my favorite, tubular. This is where I needed the needle. I didn't have a small enough circumference. I forgot my small circumference needles. That's what I bought in Canada. And then you start the color work, which is so easy to memorize, and I just absolutely loved it. And these beautiful raglan lines I loved. And again, it's called a boxy raglan for a reason. And hers is cropped, and mine is, I maybe made it a tiny bit longer. And then it's a split hem. And yeah, I just love it. I mean, I can't say enough about it. And then I finished one sleeve. I have to weave in these ends, and I just have one more sleeve to do. But it's in the bag, this, with 8 balls of yarn. Oh, because the Fino, she did hers holding the yarn double. And so I did that, not even thinking I could just get a DK. Right, it's fingering, 2 fingerings. But I just did it, so I have 2 balls of blue, 2 balls of purple of each color, and so it's a lot. Someone wanted me to talk about the yarn management. What I'm going to say about yarn management is you just have to do it. Every time you twist, oh, this is beautiful. She suggests that you don't cut the yarns between repeats. I'll try to take a picture of this, but that you just keep the yarns live, and then right before you're going to use that yarn again, it could be 8 rows away, you catch a float in the last stitch or 2 stitches of the row you're finishing, and keep them loose, those floats, so that they're stretchy. You can see they're super stretchy, and then just start using that yarn. And so that's what I did, and I just think it looks so pretty going up the side. But why did I talk about that? I can't remember. But anyway.
Yarn management.
Yarn management. That's why. Thank you. You just have to know every time you catch that float, and every time actually you're turning the sweater because you're knitting in the round, it adds a twist to the yarn. Twisting the 2 balls together or twisting all 4 colors. So every single time I used a new color, I would take those 2 balls of yarn out and I would unwind them and put them back in my bag. And leave the others twisted. When I needed the next color, I would take them out of my bag, untwist them, and you just have to know. You're going to have to manage your yarn. But I feel like it is so, so worth the final result, you know? And I love the color work in this. You could totally make this in one color, absolutely. But I just love it, and I cannot wait to wear it. I will not be wearing it, well, maybe I'll put it in my bag at Rhinebeck and wear it when I see if Beth is going to be there.
On the weather.
Take a picture with her.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love it.
And these are elbow length or?
Yes, they're 3/4.
Okay, 3/4. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So I love it. Sargasso Boxy Raglan. It will be released on October 1st, and I want to finish it by then to get my finished object picture in Ravelry.
And lots of notes.
And lots of notes.
Yeah.
I did make a few suggestions to Beth, and she was very grateful. One little thing was, even the tech editor didn't catch it. Like, you knit the back hem first, and then I did them at the same time. But then for the front hem, you do the same thing, but it still said knit across the back hem. So it was just a cut and paste thing.
Right,
You know,
and you'd be like, well, wait a minute.
it's the exact same thing, so that was an easy fix. Just put front in instead. But anyway, those things happen, so that's why you have test knitters. Yay! Boxy. Sargasso Boxy Raglan. Love it. Can't wait to finish. Okay, now we can talk about all the Knit Dallas stuff.
Okay. As usual, we always put what the mannequins are wearing in the show notes. So, and everything that we talk about is in the show notes, so feel free to reference those. Yeah, so I asked Meredith to show me some yarns that maybe are special to her store, unique to her store, and one is plied. And this is, I want to say Baltimore. Yes, Maryland. Oh, I remembered. I actually bought some of this when I visited the store the first time, and she has quite an extensive selection. And it's all this beautiful marled yarn that is hand-dyed in Baltimore, spun in New Hampshire, 100% wool. Yeah, and each skein is unique. So anyway, I wanted to showcase some of that. She has an extensive color collection. And these are the 2 colors actually that were dyed specifically for her store. So if you go to the website, you'll see her logo is knit stitches, but it's orange and pink. And so these were her custom colors for the store. And speaking of orange and pink, the Neighborhood Fiber Co. dyed this special colorway for her. And this is called East Dallas, which is where the shop is located. So this is 100% organic merino. This is machine washable. These are your colors. And then this yarn is called Wanderluck Fibers, and it's a local yarn. She has several different bases and weights, and it's hand dyed. And this one happens to be called Linen Luxe. It's 50% alpaca, 25% linen, 25% silk, and it's a fingering weight, and it is really, really beautiful. So this is her store colorway. Yeah, beautiful. Really, really pretty. I'm going to go look at that when we're done filming.
Nice.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about what the mannequins are wearing?
Sure.
Okay.
And we have in front of us.
Oh my gosh, I have to show you this. So if you watch Fruity Knitting, a fan of theirs, a viewer, made this beautiful diorama,
I can't remember.
3D kind of set of her dining room.
It's in their
complete
intro.
with the little fruit. Oh my goodness. So I walked in here and Meredith's daughter made this. And it's a little diorama of the shop. And oh my goodness, it is the cutest thing ever. So maybe you can take
light.
I know, maybe you can take a picture of that.
I did already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, anyway.
So
above that, Kim picked out this beautiful sample that is crochet called the Limonata is the pattern by Anna D. And it is crocheted in Kelborn Willens Mojave, which is 60% cotton, 40% linen in this beautiful coral color.
So cute with a little tank top under it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're really fit, you could just wear a sports bra.
Right?
It's really... Yeah. I think my niece,
you could wear it over a bikini if you were wearing a two-piece bikini.
You can make it longer and as a cover-up.
Yeah. Really, really, really fun. It reminds me of your Arne and Carlos
Right.
blanket.
Yeah, it has the same number of spokes, I think.
Right.
And the scalloped edge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Love it.
Really, really pretty. So, yeah. All right. You want to do the next one?
And then behind me here, we'll talk about the sweater first.
And it's funny because last night she was sitting there doing a film class project and I was knitting and looking at Ravelry. And
you wanted to find something new to cast on before.
Mm-hmm. And I, like I said, have trouble making decisions. So I was going to narrow it down to like 8 sweaters and she was going to help me choose. But this is one of the sweaters and that I love. And I think would be great transitional knit because it's full of holes and it could be knit in, this one's knit in wool, but you can knit it in a cotton linen blend. So I'm eyeing this.
Yeah. It's the Ingrid Summer Sweater. Designer is Gregoria Fibers, and this one was knit in John Arbin Yarnadelic, which you've used before. And the color they used was the Beautiful Ones, and it's just really lovely.
Yeah, 100% Falklands Corriedale.
I love that you can see the color of the yarn through the dye.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, John Arbin, it's a great story. It's beautiful yarn, very ethically produced, and they are working on a special Knit Dallas color.
Yes, and let's just transition to this. We'll do the rest of the samples in a minute. But John Arbin has produced this book, The Annual. This is issue 4. And one reason this is extra special in this shop is because an employee here has a design in it.
Her first design.
Yes, and it's the Apple Blossom Shawl by Ashley Lee. And actually, they are also on the mannequins. There's 2 different sizes. This is the larger size, and that's the smaller size. It has a little picot edge. The center is lacework, right? And some, it's just really beautiful.
Those
the pattern.
long stitches,
that you lift from the...
Right, they're called something.
Yeah, slip stitches.
They have a name.
Yeah, they're beautiful. And the
bigger one was knit in
The bigger one, yes, thank you, is knit in John Arbin Textiles Devonia 4-ply, and the colors she used were Snow, Ash, and Moonbloom, which are these. Gorgeousness. Oh, these are your colors, totally. Love it. And then the little one over there is knit in...
The Appledore.
John Arbin Textiles Appledore Lace.
And this is beautiful. Oh my goodness, it looks like cotton candy with all the colors.
Yeah, the pink. There's like a pink and it has all these blues and greens in it. And then it's just really gorgeous.
Yeah, really, really beautiful.
Love it. And then finally, that sweater over there, which isn't a new pattern, but it caught my eye as soon as we walked in the door. It's the Poplar Tee by Brienne Moody. And it's knit in Kilbourne Woolens Camper in Clyde North Avenue. Here, this is what it's knit in. Isn't that gorgeous?
So pretty.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
So lots of fabulous yarns. They have a huge selection of Madeline Tosh, which is dyed here in Fort Worth. A whole wall of Madeline Tosh. But you can go to their website and check out all the... I keep looking around.
I know. We didn't shop yet. We're after this.
No.
She opens the door at 10:30, so hopefully we'll be done by 10:30. But we're just going to, I think, hang out and knit and shop and put the furniture back.
There's literally twice as much yarn in this store as last time I was here. So,
yeah, it's beautiful.
It's a beautiful store.
Love it. So I think that's almost it, right? We just, Acquisitions. We don't really have any yet.
I do.
Nope.
Anyway, that's fine. I bought a couple things in Cannon Beach. I was in each store for literally 20 minutes so we could get to the airport on time. So, yeah, it was a blur.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about books or my favorite things or?
Do books first and then my favorite things and then we'll be done.
Okay. So part of why I haven't been knitting as much is because I can't knit and read at the same time. I'm not really an audiobook person because I get really distracted. I like to read. I feel like it's a really immersive experience, and it was helping with the grieving process. So, of course, I already mentioned my daughter got me hooked on the whole dragon smut and then the fairy smut, and then I was like, okay, enough. And I joined the book club in our neighborhood, and the first book that I was able to read and participate in was a book called How to Walk Away, and it was written by a woman named Katherine Center, Center. And it was a free book on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, go ahead and download it. And the author is from Texas. I don't know that she currently lives here. I think she does in the Houston area. And the author was Zooming in for the book club meeting. And I thought, oh, well, it's only 6 days away. I don't know if I can finish the book in that amount of time. It was a pretty short book. So I did. I finished it in a couple days. Then I downloaded all the Kindle Unlimited books by Katherine Center, because they are these. I've never been a romance person, except for in the context of maybe historical fiction or, but not just like pure pleasure, fluff. Well written though, and interesting. Each book has a different premise. They're all pretty formulaic in that, you know, there's this frenemies kind of thing, or enemies to lovers, you know, trope, whatever. But just really strong female leads told by a female perspective. Anyway, loved the first book, How to Walk Away. And I had so many questions for the author, but I got like an SOS call from my daughter with the newborn, so I went over there instead and missed the book club meeting. But every book, and this is one of my questions for her, every book has the mention of knitting or the mention of crochet. They're not knitting or crochet centric at all, but yeah, I was like, she must be yarny in some way or crafty in some way. So 2 of her books have been turned into movies on Netflix. One is Happiness for Beginners, which I had seen, but I ended up reading the book also later. And then The Lost Husband, which I believe I've also watched. So anyway, highly recommend Katherine Center.
Katherine, if you happen to be watching, or anybody who knows her, let us know if you're a knitter or a crocheter. Yeah, we want to know.
You have to be. So in one book, someone was knitting slugs. She had learned how to knit. And then another book, one of the firefighters, a female firefighter, joins the crochet group against her will. You know, she doesn't want to go, but she ends up winding balls of yarn. And I don't know. I thought it was really, really sweet. So they're not smutty at all. I was telling Kim they're definitely suitable for your young granddaughter. There's maybe a kiss here or there. There is some language, but they all have happy endings. I read her bio on the website and it says, I will never kill a main character main character will never get hit by a bus in the last few pages of the book. So there's that guarantee. And they all have a uplifting message, but not in a preachy way.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah, I really enjoyed those. So I've read a bunch of books. I've read like 20 books, hence no knitting.
No knitting.
But anyway.
And I decided there's like a handful of books that I've started over the years that I never finished, and they always like yell at me in my mind. Does that ever happen to you? Like the dishes yell at you if you didn't do them, like the laundry yells at you.
You should finish them?
Yeah, like, you never finished me. Help. So I decided I'm not really an audiobook person at all, but I really wanted to finish them, and I thought if I wasn't like inspired to read them, pick up the books again. Some of them just had to do with the font that the book was printed in. Some of them I just at the time disliked one of the characters, and I just couldn't keep reading. So in this summer I did a lot of audiobook listening to, and I finished The Source by James Michener. That was a new book, though, that I had just started. Oh, no, that's not true. I did start it a while ago, but the font was like 6 point and it's really thick, horrible. But the narrator was great in that book. Loved it. And then I did Anna Karenina. And
enjoyed it this time.
yes, still don't love Anna, but but she's just it's just tragedy. And
I
then
have a thing for all those sad Russian writers.
I can't remember which other. But anyway, right now I'm almost
Chronicles of Narnia.
I'm just about to finish. I'm in the last book of Chronicles of Narnia. And I love this. It's the Audible version. And so each book has a different narrator and all with a British accent. And it's really lovely.
Course.
Yeah. So anyway, that's me with that. But as far as favorite things, I'll do mine first. My favorite thing is, I haven't even seen it yet, but I've seen little sneak peeks. It's a new book coming out by Claudia Quintanilla, and it's called Memory Lane. And she did contact us, and so we're going to get a copy of the book. Thank you so much. It's based on, knitting creates memories anyway, or it reminds you of things, where you bought the yarn. And they're all very beautiful with very lovely details. Some of them have beading. A lot of them have some lacework element to them. They're special in some way. I think maybe there's embroidery. I'm not really sure. But
like heirlooms.
Heirlooms, exactly. So creating memories while you're knitting them. So the ones I'm going to put here right now as I'm talking, little pictures of them. So here they are. The first one is Aureliano. So Aureliano is a colorwork sweater. It looks like it's a circular yoke. Looks like it's a pretty easy pattern to memorize. Yeah, and the fit in the picture looks beautiful.
Floats.
Yep. 0 E's or maybe some negative E's, right?
And a lot of rest rows.
Yep, it looks really beautiful. The next one is Corazon, and it's a little collar. Is it crocheted or knit? And it has some beading. Maybe it's knit.
It's knit.
Yeah. It's really lovely. I know collars are definitely in. A lot of people really wear them and really love them. Yeah, it's really beautiful. The next one is Granada. And this is, the center of it looks like stockinette, right? And then it has a beautiful lace, stand-up. I wouldn't call it a turtleneck, but like a stand-up, right? Collar.
It's folded over.
Is it folded? Oh, it is folded over. Yeah, it's just so gorgeous. And then the same lacework on the sleeves. And then really long cuffs that come in. Oh, so beautiful. And then Maria. And this, is that embroidery or just colorwork with beads? It's hard to tell in the pictures, but
I think it's colorwork with beads.
And it's down at the bottom before the ribbing.
And the cuffs.
Oh, the cuffs too. It's really beautiful. Really gorgeous. And then the Olympia. The special thing about Olympia, from the front it just looks very plain. I might not insert both pictures, but the back is a keyhole back, and she has a beautiful ribbon in this design, a blue ribbon. Maybe I will insert both pictures, but it's really special and beautiful in that way. The next one is, I would say Tecla, T-E-C-L-A, and Jonna and I are also receiving 2 kits, and this is the kit we're receiving. And so again, the main part of the sweater looks like plain stockinette, and then the sleeves are lacework as well. Really pretty. And the final one is wings. And actually, Jonna saw this. I didn't get to ask Jonna which one she wanted, so I just ordered. But she's like, I want that one. So I might be calling you, Claudia, or messaging you. Wings has these beautiful little, it has a collar, these little pointed collars, and then the whole sweater is beautiful lacework and beading. And this one you're seeing right now is in black, and you can see it's just really special and just gorgeous. So thank you, Claudia, for sharing those designs with us and for sending us a book and providing kits.
Can't wait to get those.
I know, yeah. I mean, that wings would make a beautiful special occasion sweater, Christmas or an event.
Very holiday.
Really lovely. So what's your favorite thing?
So last night as I was picking out patterns, and I asked him to come to my side of the computer and, hey, help me pick out a sweater. My favorite thing is the Siri, like Apple iPhone Siri, S-I-R-I cardigan by Lynette, who is Lena Holm Stamso. She's Danish. She also designed the porcelain sweater, which is, I think, in the top 20 on Ravelry. It's beautiful. It's got some blue bright blue, like that Swedish blue color work. It looks like a beautiful porcelain plate. Anyway, I just love the Ethereal cardigan, and I'm going to pick out yarn for it.
Nice.
Today.
Here. Oh,
Right
nice.
today.
So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think we did it.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy? Is it
Yeah.
10:30 yet?
No, we didn't talk about quickly. I just want to thank Sue.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I want to thank
Where
a
did I put
viewer,
mine?
Sue. She wrote me a sweet card. No, this is for the toolkit. It's in here. So she went on an Art and Carlos cruise, and because she knows Art and Carlos got me through the pandemic. Like, I didn't care if they were knitting, crocheting. I didn't care if they were reading me
Gardening
the
in their
dictionary.
pajamas.
I didn't care. Those two just brightened my day. So she wrote me a nice card and just said she thought of me on her trip to Norway with Art and Carlos. Since you like them so much, I figured you would need one of their project bags. She also included some of the Prim needles that they represent, or it's one of their affiliates. So she sent me the DPNs, and yes, I do use DPNs on occasion, and they're very ergonomic and they have a nice shape. So she sent me some of those. So thank you, Sue. That was a really, really great surprise. Yes, and one of these days, my husband knows that I love Art and Carlos. One of these days, I'll go on one of their cruises. So
Yeah, it would be so fun to meet them.
yeah. Anyway, thank you also for the sweet note.
It's really lovely.
Yep.
And then also another viewer sent us, she has an Etsy shop, Tassi Studio, Taci Studio, and I think her name is Tatiana Simmons, if I remember right. Yep. And she sent us a card and a toolkit each. So it's a knit and crochet toolkit, all the little
Goodies.
you can never have enough of. A little measuring tape, some light bulb stitch markers, some needle stoppers, some more removable stitch markers. Mine is all in a purple, lavender, pink theme.
One.
I told her to pick out what she thinks we would like, and we love them, Tassi. Thank you so much. So definitely, we are not affiliates. We do not get any kickbacks from any of this, but we're just, grateful, and we love to support small business, small women-owned business specifically. We will support male businesses too, but we just really love that. So thank you so much, Tassi. It's so nice to go to the P.O. box, and sometimes I go and there's nothing there, which is fine. Oh, there's just
Junk mail.
Junk mail.
Yep, a lot of junk
mail. What a waste of paper. Anyway, but to find little gifties is really nice.
Gosh, what was I going to say? Something about gifts, post office, mail. Who knows? It's lost, gone forever. We did.
It'll come back right after we turn the camera off.
We did order our first ever enamel pins for Rhinebeck.
Yes.
It was
we have to talk about Rhinebeck.
But we're excited to get those, and hope I think we'll get them before Rhinebeck.
Yeah.
So yeah,
our Rhinebeck schedule. Do you want to? It's right here if you want to tell everybody.
Yeah. So on Thursday, so I arrive in New York on the 16th, late in the day, and the 17th, which is a Thursday and Friday, they're doing it this year. 2 days at Pick Up Every Stitch is the road to Rhinebeck. And last year we were there with Rebecca Clow and Amy Palco, and it was just
Nora Knits. We met Nora.
Oh my goodness! And
a
if you
few
haven't
of our
watched
viewers,
Nora,
Mercedes, and did Pat come too? I feel like Pat and Mercedes met for the first time there.
oh, I'm not sure.
It was amazing.
Yeah, our time is counting down here. We have 8 minutes before the store opens. Anyway, so if you're in the area, come to Pick Up Every Stitch
12
for
to 6.
12 to 6.
I'm going to skip film class that day. Sorry.
Thursday and Friday for Road to Rhinebeck.
We'll be there
It was
Thursday.
Such a great event last year. And then Friday.
Oh wait, there's somebody going to be there. Camellia Fiber Co. is going to be there for a trunk show.
Trunk show.
Yeah.
And this is all Camellia Fiber Co. behind us.
Yes.
Friday on the 18th, we'll be at Kickapalooza. Kimberly McAlinden. I said it right.
I have to really think about how to say her name.
Invited us to her booth. And then later that day, we'll be at a Woolen Affair, which is some shopping, and it's a party put on by Brooklyn General. I'm sorry the tickets are sold out. It was a very popular event, a spin-off from Woolen Folk, and it's a very small curated event, so they have a limited number of tickets. So
They have more vendors this year, though. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was so nice to just go there last year and just chill out and drink a glass of wine and listen to music.
Yes.
And then Saturday, and I'll be there Sunday at Rhinebeck.
Yeah, Saturday we'll definitely be there together.
Sunday you may or may not.
We're going to meet our viewers
Yeah,
at
the
2
church
o'clock
thing.
on the hill, if you know where the hill is. And then I'm thinking 4 o'clock we'll meet our members somewhere. So watch our YouTube community page to find out where. 4 o'clock, members somewhere will sit and knit. We tried to do it last year. We did meet some of them, but it was raining, so we couldn't really sit on the picnic benches and knit. But we really want to do that this year. And Sunday, Jonna will be there. That's usually we reserve Saturday for browsing and saying hi to viewers.
And Sunday for shopping.
And Sunday is shopping. But my son-in-law is being honored Sunday, that Sunday, and I really want to drive all the way to Hartford, Connecticut and be there. So we're going to try to get up crazy early. We're staying in an Airbnb that a member rented.
To one of our members.
With our husbands, and she and somebody, and then there's another room somebody's going to be in. But I think we're going to try to get up really early on Sunday morning and do a video.
Film an episode.
Before my husband and I drive to Hartford, Connecticut. So I probably, I won't be there Sunday. But anyway, it'll still be a wonderful weekend.
Yes, so we can't wait.
Yeah.
So be sure to come and say hi.
Yes. And don't forget to comment. We love comments. I promise we're going to get back to answering them. Like, subscribe. We're getting close to 17,000, so I would love to
put us over
17,000. Share with your friends. Oh, so funny. Somewhat recently, my former son-in-law, my daughter's divorced, but we're still, obviously, they have 2 kids together, and he's still the father of my grandchildren, so he's at the house a lot to get with the kids and stuff. But he was out west. He was in, was it Denver? And he happened to be walking by a group of women knitting, or it was a knit shop. I can't really remember. And he just had this idea, because I got a lot of advice from him in the beginning about equipment. And so he walked in, and he's very tall and handsome. And he walked in, he said, "Excuse me, can I ask you a question?" And they all look up. And he says, "Have you ever heard of Knit Together with Kim and Jonna?"
Oh gosh, that's something my husband would do.
And one of the women said, "Yes, of course, I love them. I watch them all the time." And he's like, "Oh, I'm Kim's ex-son-in-law," and they talked to them for a while, and then she shared our information with a bunch of the people. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name right now, but I wasn't intending on talking about this, but it was really funny. So that was really nice of my son-in-law to do that, and it was just funny. I don't think he was surprised that somebody knew who we were, but he was impressed a little bit.
So I have another funny coincidence story. So my son forwards me a text message from, he got this text message randomly from a woman that he used to go to high school with. So this is, my son's 30, so decades ago. And it says, "Hey, is your mom the knitter from Knit Together with Kim and Jonna?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he texts me and he goes, "You're famous." I'm like, "Really not famous." And she says, "Well, I have a coworker who's an avid knitter who loves her podcast, our podcast. And could she, it's his birthday, could she write a card or somehow wish him
autograph
happy birthday?"
something? And
yeah. And I was like, "Oh, well, gosh, sure, of course." And I started to think about it and mull it over. And obviously this person works close to me. And I said, "Well, what kind of office is it?" And she said, "Oh, it's a primary care physician." I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to crash that place. I'll get something together." So we got a gift together and I was going to mail it. So in the meantime, my daughter has a baby, and the baby has a checkup. So it's 4-day-old checkup or something like that. And she gives me the address of the pediatrician's office. And I'm like, okay, so familiar. I think it's the same location. And so I text my son's friend and say, "So I'm going to be at this doctor's office. Is this the same place where you work?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, well, I'll be there with my daughter and the kids. And so let's just keep it a surprise." And so I brought his gift. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Yeah. And we walk in the door and I saw him right away, but I just played, dumb and went over and sat with the kids, and Laura checked in and anyway. And so then I waited a few minutes, and Laura came back and I picked up the gift.
You were playing it cool. You knew he recognized you, right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't make eye contact, but I think my daughter, she knew the whole ruse, and she said, "Oh yeah, he saw you." So, and that day, it was a funny day. I ended up dropping. I was in such a rush because I couldn't get Teddy out of the car to go to daycare. It took me an hour to get him out of the car. That's a whole other story. I was went to grab my razor to shave my underarms and dropped it on my nose. So my nose was bleeding and it was hot and sweaty. And I'm trying to get to my daughter's house in time to help with the baby and grab this gift. And anyway, so I do show up. And I picked up the gift. I walked up to Matt at the desk and I said, hey, a little bird told me it was your birthday. And he, I introduced myself and he introduced himself, and he's an avid knitter. He loves Meals at the Ready. He loves like our son and Max and Vincent. Vincent is his name.
That's his name.
And so I had some little trinkets from them that I included, and a candle. And he's like, this is vacation yarn. And I was inspired to buy it because you guys buy vacation yarn. So show me what he was working on. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure I will see him again. Yeah. Because, I'll be helping out. So hi, Matt, and happy birthday, belated. And Kim sent a little birthday video. And, okay, Kevin and Ray are the nicest guys on the planet. If you don't already know them, Needles at the Ready. They sent a video. It's so cute. And Skylar's in the video. And it was just the cutest thing. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Kevin and Ray, for sending a video and just making his day. So,
and thank you, Matt's friend, who reached out. That was really sweet. I know. Yeah.
Morgan? Sorry.
I can't remember. If it's not in the notes, we can't just pull it out of the air.
I know.
Yeah, sorry.
I think her name's Morgan.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us here in Dallas, in East Dallas. And thank you to Meredith for hosting us. And the store's about to open any minute, and we're going to sit in it and do some shopping. Yeah. And we'll be at McKinney Knittery a little bit later. Yep. And hopefully we'll see all of you at Road to Rhinebeck at Pick Up Every Stitch. Mm-hmm. And then that whole weekend. And now I think my nose is running, so we're going to say goodbye. Okay. See you next time. Bye. Bye. Skip that part because I'm not going to be able to sound like an intelligent person about that. Show on the road. Road on the show? Yeah, that. Let's get this show on the road. We did it! Yay! Marathon. It's always a marathon.